Okay, hello everyone. It's Robin back again in the same orange shirt I was in like two confessionals ago. But you know what? I've been home and I don't sweat a lot or smell, and I've showered, and I'm a hippie, so we don't change our clothes a lot. But that's TMI. Um, anyway, getting into this episode 12 because honey, it's a lot. It's a lot for me to digest. First of all, we're coming into this. Um, Julia B was rocks out the last episode, and fuck. Yeah, as I said in my last confessional, like Julia B was someone that I appreciated and I adored her, and I wanted to work with her, but again, out of the four people on the wheel, I need Sam D in here because she is going to be a bigger target in front of me. Mona Lisa to me is going to be that person because I'm shy and I don't ever want to come up as the leader of the pack, and I need someone to come up as that. And yes, probably people will let you know in this game, and this is just judging by the challenge as well, which we'll get into. I think people think Rachel's like the leader of my pack, which in some sense I will say that is true. um but to me, with my plans and why I want to go forward, Mona Lisa is definitely the one in charge, and hopefully if they were to chop someone before me, it would be Mona, right? I'm thinking. And then Rachel's still there as collateral damage, if anything, if people think we're together. So hopefully I'm positioning myself uh, at a good point right now, at a good place. um yeah, so that's where we are with that. Marcelo, as I've been saying, I trust Marcelo at this point in the game. Although after this challenge, I don't know where I stand with a lot of people. We'll get into it. Um, so Julia B, unfortunately, I did want to work with her, but unfortunately, out of the four, I just needed her to go because, for one, we've not had much of talks or connections at all besides like a higher by. And also, when I was pushing for one person, she wanted another person gone, aka she didn't want John to go. And I don't know if it was worth it now to give up her game for John, essentially. Um, of course, I don't know where everyone voted, so I can't say that she wholeheartedly did John. Just say, anyway. So we're getting into this week and we're doing the like superlative challenge where they ask you a question. Well, they did this in our confessional 11 chat, um by doing having us answer these questions, and then we had to answer them again and had to think about what the majority would answer. I knew I was going to be horrible at this. I know probably people were thinking, oh, Robyn's strategizing, Robyn's saying certain names because they want to play the middle or whatever. But honestly, I genuinely answered the questions how I genuinely felt. I think some of them I might have switched my answer just because in my brain I was like, maybe the majority was going to choose these, but ultimately I was a lot more wrong on a lot of them than I should have. But of course, I think my social game is what carried me a little further in this game, people not wanting to chop me, which is something I was very conscious of, right? I think one of the questions, like, who is the most under the radar? And I wanted to write myself because I knew I was going to come up for the answer. But I said, let me do something else. And my dumbass got it wrong when I do know how I play. And I'm very under the radar right now. But again, how under the radar am I if everybody fucking sees it, or everybody. Anyway, but whatever, that may put a target on my back and it may not, right? And that's why in this challenge, Um, I'm more so, I wouldn't say I threw the challenge because there's no challenge in a game of any sorts that I will throw. You know, I will give my all, give my best. It just so happens that I did like terribly in some of these answers, and I did second guess myself a lot because I am an overthinker. So like that just happened. That's just the way it is with this challenge. So that's why I went after people like who are my allies, like Tim, because I'm like, okay, Tim, I'm giving you an easy out to at least do me. So if Tim is doing me, then if people are looking around, they don't want to do me. And that's why I didn't, want to really rock the boat in a sense and just kept sticking to Tim. And later on I went to Tim's DM and I'm like, I don't want you an expendable ally. I don't want my allies to think that they are that way to me because in reality we all need each other, and I'm okay with being thrown under the bus to an extent. And I think I need to let Tim know that as well, because you could throw me under the bus if it suits your game, like in terms of like getting a target off your back or whatever. Um, but also don't not vote for me or really push for me, because I never did that to Tim. I've heard Tim's name, but I've never went into someone's like I heard Tim's name for this run, whatever, but I wouldn't go in someone's DMs and really push Tim because like I do not want him to go, you know what I mean? But yeah, the challenge is very eye-opening, especially getting chopped by Mona, I think, because I really want to trust this girl right now. We've mended our fences. We're trying to work together, and this is something I want to trust. Like, ugh, it's so crazy because my moral compass in games are the things that get me, and I sometimes just need to think about the game and what's best for the game, and I don't always see that, because I'm always thinking about, oh, what's the best move for me, but also, women are going out, so I don't want to vote another woman. Or, there's not a lot of black people in the game, so I don't want to vote that way or whatever. Um, but that's just how I play, unfortunately, and that's how like my brain works in these games. So it's like really tough when trying to decide someone to eliminate or vote off or whatever. So, not winning the challenge here was good, but also I think OG Zafiro making it to the end, so far to the end together, and Maddie ultimately winning this challenge does put another target on all of our backs. I think out of all the people of the targets, I think mine is probably second to last. So if I were to rank based on like the Zephyros, I think the highest people with the targets right now are Rachel, Maddie, me, then Tim. If people were to take a shot, but that's just in my brain, you know? Uh, yeah. So Maddie wins the challenge. I'm so excited for him. I'm glad that he got his immunity win. Maddie is someone that I really love, I adore him so much. Like we recently just played like Roblox together and that was really, really fun. Like to just not be in this game mode together and like it's like being in a game mode in on Roblox and do Outlaster, which is like Survivor in that realm. But that has gotten me closer to him because I don't know, that's something not game related. And I think even if he were to betray me or whatever, I think Maddie is someone in this game that I'm gonna come out of it and still be really great friends with. So I appreciate that little bonding moment with us this week. Yeah. But ultimately, this is my first week. I'm kind of like in danger, right? Like, yeah, I was in danger the tribal before merge, but literally I felt good because I had three other people on my side in a 6-person tribe. So I had that, and plus I had my power, which I used at that tribal. So I was feeling pretty safe. I felt pretty safe last round because I was immune. This round. Oh Lord, I was paranoid up the booty hole because like no, it is so scary not having immunity. And yes, there were inklings again of like John or Sheed, and like, yeah, of course I'm gonna do whatever's easy and whatever everybody wants to do because like especially the first vote, I'm like kind of vulnerable. I don't want it to be me. Um, so I'm like gonna go along with it. And then eventually I was hearing, well, people want to not do John and Sheed because it is the easy vote, which I agree with, right? Like we could get Sheed out anytime. John, it's the same. They don't have many allies in this game. Why are we voting them out? It doesn't make sense, but I get it, right? People want to stick with their numbers, stick with the allies they've made and leave certain people on the bottom of the totem pole. But eventually, once those people are gone, you're going to be looked at as the target. And that's what I'm trying to prevent. I still want to leave the people in the bottom and then the people at the top so I could play the middle. And Mona Lisa saying, oh, this is not Big Brother. You can't play the middle. You got to pick a side. And I get that. And I get that. And she's not good at playing the middle. And well, that's a lot. I will say that like she's more vocal on what side she's on, but she does play the middle a lot too. Because how are you trying to be with John and me, and then you have Thomas and Sam over there on your side? You know what I mean? And then you're telling me you're talking to Maddie on top of that. And I'm just like, Aru. So it's like she keeps telling me about not playing in the middle, but like, baby girl, we're pretty much in the same position right now. Um, maybe she's a little more to one side than me because I'm kind of playing like I am with the Sephiros, but also I did want to branch out, and that's the thing. I think that I'm scared to fully commit to the swap, this merge, the merge, like the new people. Like obviously I have a connection with these other three people, four people if we count Marcelo, five if we count John in there because of the swap, because I've had so much time with them. Even Tim, I would say, is a little more distant now because he had time to be in the swap, talk to Sam, Mona, Thomas, all of them, you know what I mean? So it's like those relationships, I'm just like at a loss right now and just don't know what place I want to do and try going forward. But anyway, the name comes to me, the two names, and I hear Juan and I hear Thomas. Those are the two names. Me and Juan are like really close. Of course, I know Juan from out of this game, just from the mini world. We played a few games together. I've betrayed Juan a lot, so it's not like I wouldn't betray Juan. I just don't personally want to do Juan so early. Also, Juan is a big threat. I know this. I was saying earlier in one of my group friend chats, like, oh, I saved Juan, and they said big mistake. And I know that. I know Juan is a big threat. Juan has played one of my games and he's won it. And I've saw every fucking DM in the DRs where Juan kept telling us all his strategies. So I know how Juan plays. Like I read it and I know how this man plays. So it's not like I'm oblivious to it. I just know he's going to be that big threat for me. So I do not want to go on a personal level because I love him as a person, and on a game level because I need him in here as a big threat. And also, I will say it's a conscious thing for me too. I do not want to go. So Thomas is brought to me too. And honestly, I did not want to vote for Thomas. Thomas was not on the list of people I want to vote for. If there were to be a second name on that list, honestly, I wouldn't even know where to begin. Because yeah, if Tim was on there, maybe John, you know what I mean? It's like, And that's where the middle comes in because I'm thinking about names I could vote out, and there's not many, so that's an issue. Um, yeah, so eventually people are saying more Juan to me. Even when I talked to Thomas, he's saying he heard his name more. I'm like, I've heard Juan more. I just personally told a lot of people that I personally couldn't do Juan. And that's the thing, right? I don't, people are like, you're pushover in games, you don't take charge. And I don't want to take charge because I'm playing my own motherfucking game. You know what I mean? I'm not here to take charge of anybody's game or tell anybody where to vote. And I'm not a dictator. I'm not a leader I'm not a leader of any sort. I just am going to get along at this moment. You know what I mean? And if an easy vote is what I got to do, then that's what I got to do. Out of the two names, I said I will do Thomas just because we have not talked that much. And just based on the challenge itself, it doesn't feel like Thomas has a lot of people in this game. But at the same time, he has a lot of people in this game. You know what I mean? Just based on numbers. Um, so yeah, that's where I was leaning towards in terms of like going into the book. So we go to tribal, give our little spiels. Sandy brings up a good point to me that you know, if I think that anybody in this game is going to take the results of the challenge, any chops in that challenge, um, if it's going to affect this, if it's going to affect the vote, if people are mad about it. And I just certainly knew that was kind of like a big Tim coming for me probably tonight, or I'm going for Tim. And that's definitely not what that is. I did Tim for the sake of giving Tim an out. I wanted to give myself an out. And I think it's also good to show a division between the Zephyros. I think these things I need to explain to Tim because I don't want Tim to ever think I'm doing him bad on like, oh, I want to get you out. No, I want us to not seem like a big threat. And I'm not gonna do Maddie and Rachel because my strategy with that is I want them to always seem above me, right? I want them to always be seen at the head of the snake. That is my position right now. You know what I mean? Like they are some phenomenal game players, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you know, if I don't target them, I want people to think I am scared of them. I want people to think that I fear them in some kind of way, that I couldn't betray them. You know what I mean? So that way, if that time comes or whatever, I position myself like a lone wolf or like, I don't know. But that's my plan with that. I always want Maddie and Rachel to seem superior to myself. Are they? Probably. Probably I'll lose to them if I sat in the finals with them. But anyway, I digress on that. So before we get into the votes, Tom has pulled out another motherfucking card, bitch. I haven't made any notes about who went to the fucking Edna, fortune teller, all this stuff. Like, no. I don't know if they do a competition in this game with the days. Because if they do, mama, I am done. I'm done. I am over. Um, because I haven't been like really keeping up. That's not my MO in games. I used to be that person that take a lot of notes. And you know what? I took a lot of notes for it not to matter in the end. And I play this game very fluidly, especially now in Merge, especially now in Jury. I'm like riding the waves. You know what I mean? So it's just like, however it comes, it comes. And I don't want to write everything and everything down because, like, when I do get to the finals, when I do get to the finals, um, I think I know how to explain my game very well. I think I've been in this community long enough to explain it. And the thing, it's like, I don't know. I think I've gotten better at like talking and persuading a jury. Um, yeah. But anyway, we Thomas plays the card. It's called the Tower card. So it's basically a safety chain with two nominees at the end, right? Thomas will start this tower, Maddie's safe, then Thomas is underneath Maddie, and then Thomas has to save someone, that person will save, and then so on and so forth and so forth. So I made me a little listy list. So Thomas has decided to save Mona Lisa, which I understand they were original Rubinos and then they swapped together on OG Perla. What surprised me was Mona choosing Sam D to save, and I'm just like, I thought you were gonna save me. But again, she told me, I don't know if this is a bogus lie or whatever. She told me that she picked Sam because Thomas told her to pick Sam. And Thomas also, and yeah, Thomas told her to pick Sam. And also, she didn't want to make us seem like a duo because apparently Maddie has been spreading that me and Mona Lisa is a duo. Which, fun fact about that, I did tell Maddie I talked to Mona Lisa a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was spreading a narrative that we're working together. You know, I cannot stop that because honestly we are. So I'm not gonna lie, I know what I do when I speak to people. So I did drop those gems to Maddie and to certain people to know that, oh, Mona Lisa and Robyn's working together. Whether people want to believe that they are higher in the totem pole than me on Mona Lisa's list, then so be it. I certainly don't know where I am on Mona Lisa's list, especially after her chopping me tonight and, not saving me on the safety chain. So it worries me a lot. But right now, I'm just going to still go with this alliance with her, you know? So Sam, I did not think this was going to happen. This is one of the shocks of the night for me personally, and that was Sam saving Tim. And yes, they were on the Swap Perla tribe together, but also I thought Sam was gonna be like OG, at least save Brandon or something, you know what I mean? So her saving Tim was definitely a play. But Tim saves Rachel because of course we were OG Zafiro. So I see that Tim is still on the side of the Zafiros. And I also, I was like kind of like irked that he didn't pick me. Yes, but also I did take him out of that challenge that ultimately made him not safe, which honestly, that challenge didn't even fucking matter at the end of the day with all the safety chain bullshit. You know what I mean? Um, so he saves Rachel, and then Rachel and I was like, oh, Rachel got it. Yes, I'ma be safe. Rachel is that bitch. She's made me feel comfortable, whether that is true or not. About how she feel about, but this bitch hesitates. She hesitates hard, mom. And I'm looking to my left, looking to my right. The sweat started coming? Look back at the footage. You see me wiping the sweat because that's how fucking stressed I was, like shaking, anxiety ridden. So she takes a long time, and honestly, I get people want to think and think what their best plan of action is. And I get it, right? You don't. I get her. If she didn't save me, she wants to show that we're not Zafiro strong. But at this point, Mama, we already a target, so you saving me, um, doesn't, it may increase the bullseye a little bit more, but it's already there. It's already visible. You might as well just save me. And that's the thing I've seen with a lot of allies that I've worked with in a lot of games, I'm willing to risk my game to out alliances and like say who I'm directly working with. And they would have fucking do the same to me. So it's like, I at this point I don't know what I could do for people to make me their number one. I don't know if they don't trust me or what the case is, but it's just like the Rachel hesitation got me fucked up. So yeah, that one was really, I was gobsmacked for sure, but she did eventually save me. And then I really wanted to save, I wanted to save someone in the bottom. That was the thing, right? I did not want anyone in the bottom to go. AKA Sheed, AKA John, AKA Juan, because those were the three names that were going out. Out of those three, who do I trust the most? Juan for sure. I trust the most. Then it's John, and then it's Sheed. It in this scenario, it was very hard for me because I do have an alliance with John, and I do have this alliances with John and Mona Lisa. My thought here with picking Juan was Juan knew he was in danger. So maybe my thought process, and it was obviously a stupid one, was to pick Juan, and Juan's gonna pick people in the bottom, like Sheed or John, to switch it up, to make a move. But ultimately Juan decided to play it safe and save Brandon, who I love. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad Brandon's still here and I love him. But also, like, I get it. They were OG Perla, and then they swapped together on the swap Zafiro tribe. So I get why they would save each other. They seem the closest on that tribe. They're the only two left from that swap tribe. I believe so. I believe so. Yeah. And I personally saved Juan. I already said why I saved Juan. Juan saves Brandon, and then Brandon saves Marcelo. I don't know what the connection there with Brandon and Marcelo is in my notes. And then ultimately, John and Sheed, the people that were in the bottom last week, are in the bottom of fucking again this week. And that's what I wanted to avoid. And I felt terrible because I literally have an alliance with John, but I wouldn't put any of my allies in a position that I didn't think they were gonna be safe in. Of course I don't know that 100%, but like just based on everything, I was like, okay, either I pick Juan and Juan wants to make a move and we have Brandon and Marcelo in the bottom, or Juan plays it safe and we end up with Sheed and John in the bottom. And ultimately, Sheed will go because I know last time people did split the votes between the two, but I think between the time for the last vote and this new vote, people would rather work with John more than Sheed. So I knew that would be the case in this scenario, and that's why I picked Juan, right? I did have a little bit of strategy in my head whilst picking Juan. So yeah, John and Sheed are in the bottom. I love them both. I literally said I would not vote for Sheed tonight, and I really meant that, right? Like, if the circumstances were normal, like if this was a normal vote without this stupid tower thing where there's just two nominees, I wasn't gonna vote for Sheed tonight. I was going to possibly vote out Thomas. So yeah, that threw a wrench into the plan a lot because I did want to work with Sheed. These people that are on the bottom, I want to pick them up and have them be my allies. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. And I ultimately did vote for Sheed because I did have an alliance with John. Like, yes, me and Sheed talked and I said I wouldn't vote him tonight but the circumstances changed in which it forced my hand because I do have an alliance with John. And that's angering John and Mona Lisa instead of just angering just Sheed. You know what I mean? So ultimately, I do vote for Sheed, and he goes by a majority of 9-3, I believe the votes were. So ultimately, if I even voted to save Sheed, it wouldn't have even mattered. So I'm glad I at least voted with the majority. Again, it was sad to see Sheed go. I did not want him to personally go. Unfortunately, it like just catapulted into it being the vote that was supposed to happen last week. Um, but yeah, that was it. It was a very intense episode. After all this, I don't know where I stand with people like Sam and stuff who I thought I was closer to or like making a bond to. Like they could have really showed their loyalty to me by like branching out, you know? And although I did get saved in the safety chain, I'm glad I got saved when I did, you know. Getting saved early just leaves a lot of more rooms of people that like could get pissed at you. And ultimately, I think the place that I ended up in the safety chain was just the best for me. I don't know if people are looking at me like, why did I save one? But ultimately, I don't give a fuck because I'm gonna save whoever the fuck I want if I have the power to do so. And that's just that. I need to start giving a little more bad bitch energy in this game. I feel like I've been a little more paranoid. I don't know. I want to go far, and to go far in these games, you have to kind of play this quiet game, which I hate. You know, I want to make moves, but it's like ultimately these moves are so far from when we're gonna get to the end. You know, hopefully I can make a little more of these moves closer towards the end. I Mona Lisa said I was playing for like 10th bits, and probably I do not want to go in the double coming up. I think there is a double or triple or something coming up because just based on the schedule and timing, it doesn't make sense for ooh, it doesn't make sense for it doesn't make sense for sorry, 11 people to be taken out in like 1 week without doing some doubles or triples or something. So yeah, that's all I gotta say on that. Until the next episode, this was a long fucking rant because I had a lot to say. But yes, bye and see y'all in the next episode. And hopefully I'm still in. We're manifesting it, mama.